Hey everyone, this is Matt here. I'm coming with you for a deck profile for my Spellbook deck. I have a regional tomorrow in Houston, Texas, and this is the build that I decided to go with. We're going to start out with the monsters, running, of course, 3 High Priestess of Prophecy. She's just really good, and the Priestess build is just a lot better than the Reaper build, at least at the moment. She's just your boss monster, and you got to run 3. Also running 3 Spellbook Magician of Prophecy. It's your Stratos. You run 3 of it. It helps with consistency issues, and it's just a really solid card. The fact that it can be searched by secrets is one of the reasons why it's so good, as it gives you an out to getting a spellcaster on the field so that you can activate some of your other spellbook cards. I'm running also 2 Temperance of Prophecy. In my opinion, Temperance is the only good recruiter or fetch card for Priestess. Justice doesn't really have that good synergy with the deck, given that it's taken away from your field presence, and until we get Divine Judgment, I don't really feel Justice is really that good of a card choice at the moment. Also running 3 Breaker. I actually tested 2 Breaker for a while, and it was okay, but I really wasn't drawing it often enough, and also with some of the decks out right now being pretty back row heavy, I really want to be able to get to Breaker quickly, and to even against decks like Mermails that don't usually run a lot of back row, I want to force their Squall or their Sphere to activate so that I can maybe deal with what they bring out. I'm also running 2 Effect Veilers. It's just a really good card. The fact that she's a spellcaster is amazing. You can modulate her level with Spellbook of Life to make some really awesome synchro and exceed plays, and it's also really good against most decks, especially Fire Fist. It does help quite a bit on that matchup. Of course, I'm also running the 2 Tragodia. Tragodia has a lot of synergy with the spellbooks, usually having large hand, and also, as with Effect Veiler, the level modulation makes it a very flexible card in terms of being able to pull toolbox my extra deck for resources that I need at a given moment in the game. I'm also running 1 Injection Very Lowly. Injection Very Lowly is actually a really awesome card right now. She's obviously a really big beat stick, but you can pull her with Spellbook of Tower, which is relevant because a lot of times whenever your opponent's going to try to push over you, it involves heavy storming your back row, which is, of course, would hit your tower if you have one. And then they try to push past your field. And without Injection Very Lowly, if you don't have Threatening Roar or something like that, they're going to successfully push past you and either OTK you or, take control of the board. And at least with her in your deck, you can pull her, and they have to have even more of a nutty hand to be able to continue their push and still OTK you. So she's just a really awesome card. She also is a good answer against Thunder King and Shuri Beast Sheehan. And also, one of the deck's major weaknesses, which is Forbidden Lance, you can Spellbook of Power her safely, because even if they Forbidden Lance her, you can still call spells on her, or not Lance, excuse me. If they Forbidden Lance her, they're just going to strip the Spellbook of Power off her, but she's still going to be humongous and still be able to swing over like a bear or a tiger. And if they use like Book of Moon, you can safely use Spellbook of Wisdom to not have her flip down, so you can still take out whatever it is on their field that is being a problem for you. So that's the monsters in the deck. For spells, running the 3 staple spells, of course, Heavy Storm, Monsterborn, Dark I'm also running Book of Moon. I still feel like Book of Moon is an amazing card in Prophecy because of the synergy that it has with Magician, as well as just being an additional defensive card that the deck can run, that can also be used for other reasons, mainly for Magician. It lets you save your Spellbook of Fate whenever you have this card in your hand as well. Of course, we're running 3 Spellbook of Secrets. You just have to run it for consistency purposes, and also running 2 Spellbook of Master. I tested 3 out for a while. It still worked out pretty okay, but they do clutter a little bit, and it's sometimes not really necessary to have 3. And so right now I'm running 2, plus I don't really feel like dropping another $45, $50 on a 3rd one when the deck really doesn't need 3. Also running the 2 Spellbook of Fate, 2 Spellbook of Eternities. It's just the best ratios for them. 2 Spellbook of Fate, 2 Spellbook of Eternity allow you to loop your fates for up to 3 to 4 turns in a row, which lets you control the field really effectively. It's one of your main ways of holding up defense in the deck, since you can search fate out reliably. Also running the 2 Spellbook of Wisdom, 2 Spellbook of Power. I've tried all sorts of ratios. I've tried 2 and 2, 3 and 3, 2 and 3, and so on. And 2 and 2 really works the best. If I was going to run 3 of either one of them, I would honestly run 3 Spellbook of Wisdom, just because being able to guard your monster from Bottomless Trap Hole or Deep Prison or some other form of trap is generally more useful than the power boost, since you can search it anyway. The main argument for Spellbook of Power to 3 is Thunder King, but I mean, I just feel like it's really not necessary, and it's a waste of space to just hit Thunder King when there's plenty of other ways you can most likely be doing with it. Also running 1 Spellbook of Life and 1 Spellbook of Tower. I'm only running 1 of each because you only really need 1. You don't want to draw Spellbook of Life usually in your opening hand, just because it's kind of dead. It's not going to do anything for a little while. But you can search it, so you can search it whenever you need to. And the same with Tower. Tower, I don't like 2 towers at all, because if I lose my tower, either I don't need it because I can just control the field rather than going and getting another tower. I can just go get Fate or something else, so I have control rather than trying to get pluses later in the game, when later in the game won't even happen if I were to just control the match and then keep swinging every single turn at them. But also, if I do need Tower for some reason, it recycles very easily. All you have to do is Fate or Priestess your Tower, and then Eternity it back. And you have it right back to play again, if you need to. So anyway, that's the spell lineup in the deck. And for traps, I am actually running traps. I've actually really liked the trap builds. I'm running 2 Threatening Roar. Threatening Roar is just an amazing card in here. Being able to not die is one of the biggest problems the deck has. Whenever they would, like, for example, heavy storm you or just try to push real hard over you. If you didn't have Tragodia in the trapless build, or if you didn't have Treacherous Trap Hole, you really could lose. So having the 2 Threatening Roar gives you more outs, along with the other traps, to maybe not get pushed over so easily whenever they have a really powerful hand. Also running 2 Breakthrough Skill. Breakthrough Skill is amazing. It's a pretty undervalued card at the moment, and it just has a lot of synergy with this deck as far as its weaknesses, because Breakthrough Skill is immune, for all practical purposes, to MSC, as far as Thunder King and Naturia Beast are concerned, which are 2 of the deck's biggest threats. And so once you have Breakthrough Skill, they're not really a threat anymore. You can push past them and set up your field and take control back over the game. It's also good against any deck. It's just like an Effect Veiler, only I can use it during my turn, and it's just an amazing card to be running in a trap version of this deck, and even in a trapless version. For a while, when I was running no traps, I was running 3 Breakthrough Skill and the Treacherous Trap Hole, which actually worked really well. And so even if you're not running a trap-based version of this deck, I would definitely consider running 2 to 3 Breakthrough Skills, as it has a great synergy with the deck overall. And then, of course, I'm also running the 2 Solemns that we still have playable in the list. So that's the trap lineup for the deck. As for the extra deck, we're running Effect Veilers, so we do need to have synchros. We've got 1 Catastor, 1 Librarian. I'm running Black Winged Dragon, mainly because I don't side deck anything for burn at all. And although burn did get hit with 1 day apiece, I don't want to randomly lose to it. And having this in the side deck pretty much guarantees I'm going to win if I ever play burn, because I can just go into it so easily. 1 Crimson Blader, which is an awesome card against Mermails in certain scenarios. It can really lock out their hand and give you some stall time to maybe not get OTK'd, or to be able to weed out some sources. Also running Scrap Dragon, of course, just because it's the best rank level 8 synchro. And then for 7s, I'm running Argonite Magician, and also running Ancient Sacred Wyvern. mainly because Wyvern comes up when I need something really big on the field, and the life points are doing okay for that to come out. And of course, Arcanite Magician, because he's the only and a really good level 7 Synchro. So this gives you a lot of toolboxing room with Effect Veller. And then for 2s, I have Gachi, Shining Angel. Shining Angel is the best rank 2 ever made, honestly, at least in this deck, obviously. But I mean, it's just generic, and it's really hard to get over it. And it's just an awesome card, and it's a spellcaster. I love it. Also running 1 Zen Mains and 1 Acid Golem. I don't really run away to get rank 3s out. I'm mainly running these because there could come cases when I have Injection Fairy Lily, but I don't have life points, or I have a Temperance that's dead, or something like that, and I'm running Zen Main to stall and Acid Golem to get over problem cards if that were to ever come up. I'm also only running 1/4. I decided on Maestroke. He just seems like the best generic rank 4 to go into whenever I have a problem to get over. Abyss Dweller, I don't really run waters. I would have to Spellbook a life and modulate a Magician to get it with a water. And it's just kind of, whenever I summon that, I feel like I've used too much of my resources to summon that, and it's just not really worth all the things that you have to put into it to really make it in this deck. So I'm just running Maestroke because he's the most versatile rank 4 in the game. And then I'm running, of course, Big Eye and I can't say her name. Hierophant of Prophecy. I'm mainly running Hierophant because in case I need to be able to get over something really big. For example, if I need to get like over an Abyss Gaios that was on the field because they can negate the Priestess or something like that. Also, I've played against random decks that side deck Imperial Wall, or whatever that trap card is called, that doesn't let you banish cards, because then Priestess and Fate cannot get rid of it, and I can't activate them, and it's really annoying, but I can overlay into her and blow up the entire back row and continue on. And finally, I'm also running 1 Gustav Max. This card ends games. Between Tragodia being a rank 10 and being able to level modulate any monster in my deck up to 10 potentially, it's like a main phase 2 2,000 point cowboy. And even when it's not, it's a 3,000 3,000. There have been cases that come up rarely where I would want to exceed with it immediately, just because I need the attacking power, because Tragodia is so small whenever he's on the board. But the main thing is that he's a 2,000 point burn at the end of the turn, in main phase 2, which ends games in main phase 2 that would normally be ended, and it just cuts off your opponent from having options to try to come back the following turn. So anyway, that's the extra deck. And for the side deck, I'm side decking 3 Max C's. It's not really for windups. I mean, I guess if I do happen to play that new windup build, it's just gonna be that much better. But it's really for Mermails. Whenever Mermails try to go off at any point, since everything in their deck is not inherent, Maxi is always a 1-for-1. Also, it helps you keep up with their pace. When they're trying to go off on you and you Maxi, you're going to at least draw 1, which will either stop them from making the rest of their play, or if they do make their play, you're going to draw a whole bunch of cards. And I'm going to have a whole lot of card advantage if they make a power play, and I have Tragodias, which means that they're probably not going to be able to OTK me if they try to push through the Max C. So Max C works really well against the Mermails, and any other deck that I might run into that just special summons a lot, like, I don't know, any kind of really fast deck that I can't think of at the moment. But it's mainly for Mermails, which I do expect to see as long as I'm doing well. They're going to be at the top tables. Running 2 Kaiku, the Ghost Destroyer. This card is just generic anti-meta hate. It's really good against the mirror match or any deck that is really graveyard reliant, like Mermails. I can force their Squall to activate, or I can just take away their Mermails from their graveyard so their Squall cannot activate. And against a variety of other decks as well. Kaiku is just an overall solid card to side against many of the rogue decks that I might run into. I'm side decking 2 Tsukiyomi. This is mainly for decks that either can make Naturia Beast really easily, like X-Sabers or Samurai, or Karakuri, and also for decks that run Thunder King. It just gives me a one card out to all those monsters, and it's really just to help make that not shut down my deck games 2 and 3. My little tech choice is Jaugen the Spiritualist. He's actually a really solid side deck card. The fact that he's a spellcaster is just amazing, and he has synergy with all of the spellcaster cards like Fate. I can use Fate to defend him turn 1, and he's really good against, for example, Samurai, who would otherwise be a pretty hard matchup against game 2 and 3 when they go first. I can just summon Jaugen and take out their entire field if they made a big field, assuming they don't have like Magmatama. But if they had Magmatama, I was going to lose anyway. So it's a really solid side deck card. I'm also running 3 MSCs. I thought about cutting that down to 2, but MSC is like the only thing that I can honestly side deck against Fire Fist. There's really not a lot you can side deck against that, and so I'm going to keep the MSCs at 3. And I'm also running 3 D-Fissure. And this is mainly for Mermails again, and Dark World, or whatever else I might play that might be real graveyard heavy. But this is actually a really solid, these 6 against Mermail alone is just an amazing side deck for them. Because D-Fissure completely shuts them down. They can't activate their discard effects to special summon monsters. They can't activate the graveyard effects. It completely just shuts the deck out. And although I can't use Max C while the D-Fissures are active, if they ever MFT D-Fissure and try to go off, chances are I have a Max C in my hand, and I can Max C maybe into another D-Fissure, but at the very least make them not be able to make their power play that turn without risking me gaining a lot of card advantage with the Tragodia. So anyway, that's my deck profile on my Spellbook deck. I'm taking it to regionals tomorrow. I hope I do good, and thanks for watching.